All right, so everyone, welcome so much to our Life Skills Academy program. We're really excited to have you today. Today's topic, of course, is on time management with our life coach, Judith Vandsburger.
Hi.
And just one administrative thing, please fill out your evaluations and give them to us before you leave. Also have a little one at the end. Your work, your comments really help us make this program great. So thanks so much, and without further ado, please take it away.
Thank you, Eric. Hi, everybody. I'm very excited to be here today. As you know, my name is Judith. So I would love to start and go around the table and have you tell us your name. Can we start? Can you say it a little louder?
My name is Vandsburger.
Okay.
My name is Judith. I'm Janelle. I'm Maddie. I'm Haley.
I'm Jason.
I'm Laura.
I'm Marina.
I'm Art. I'm Avery.
Sergey. Joel.
Ashley. Moses.
Anisha. Asta. Shirley.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We're going to try to do these very interactive, right? That's why I wanted you to introduce yourself to everybody else. So now, another thing. Let's take our phones out, please. All phones out. And let's put them in vibrate. And let's put them face down on the table. This is time management, so we want to make sure that we are managing our time properly, right? Okay? All right. So, let's start.
I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna kick my feet up, then stare at the fan. Turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't. No, I'll be lounging on the couch, just chilling in my snuggie. Click the MTV so they can teach me how to Dougie. 'Cause in my castle, I'm the freaking man. Oh, yes, I said it. I said it, 'cause I can. Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed.
So, who wish that could manage their time better? Sometimes, some days, I wish I could manage my time better. There are 168 hours in every week, right? So how do we spend those hours? We have so many things to do, right? We have schoolwork, we have volunteer work, we have social media, we spend a lot of time there, exercise, extracurricular activities, community, family, social life. I mean, we're always juggling something, and sometimes they get out of control. So let's talk about time management, right? What do you think that time management is? So if you flip one of your pages, please take 2 minutes and write down what you think time management is. We'll give it 2 minutes. All right, I think almost everybody's done. So who wants to read it? Who wants to start? Don't make me pick. Come on. There you go.
Effectively spending time, I think that's the main thing about the time management, which is reduce time by kind of based on unnecessary things. But first, then you need to know what are things necessary, what are not. So setting the goals and then achieving the results. And then also part of that is setting the priorities.
Excellent. Very good. Did you all hear that? Who else wants to share? Come on. One or two more. Okay. And now, right? Mm-hmm.
Time management is being able to organize and utilize your time to your advantage and make most of every second.
Wonderful. Great. Who else? One more. One more volunteer. Don't make me pick. Come on. Okay. You.
I think time management is using your time wisely to do things and doing the priorities and not being distracted.
Excellent. So pretty much everybody was right on the money. So time management is a process, right? We don't learn from one day to another. So we have to practice and learn the process. And it's about organizing and planning how you spend your time on very specific activities. And it involves the development of strategies, again, and tools to make you more effective. And it's about managing your time more efficiently. So at the end of the day is making the most out of your time and your energy. And all of you who read that, and probably some of you that didn't read, were, again, right on the topic. So let's talk a little bit about the obstacles of effective time management. So take 2 more minutes and write down what do you think would be the obstacles. All right, I think we're almost done. So who's volunteer? Who wants to read? Okay, what's your name again?
Alana.
Alana, okay.
Friends can be distractions or obstacle.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little more?
If you spend all your time with friends and don't have time for like school or anything,
Uh-huh.
and it could be more of an obstacle or
Very good. Yeah, very good point. What else? Yeah, please.
Like social media, if you spend too much time on it and you don't use that time to do something else.
Excellent. One more? Yes.
I think it's difficult to, even when you need to do something, sometimes it's difficult to persuade yourself to do that. So I think that's the main problem. And then maybe kind of part of that is not knowing good strategies of dealing with some things. And then sometimes it's just mixed priorities. You kind of difficult to choose which one to do first. And sometimes you also have like new tasks coming in, right? So you first will planning to do this, and then you figure out that you need to do that as well.
Makes sense. Anybody else that wants to share? All right, so you touch on some of the points that we have here. So unclear objectives, right? First of all, what are we trying to accomplish? If we're not clear about what we need to do, it's going to be somewhat difficult to manage the time and get it done, right? The other one is disorganization. How many times we need to get one thing done, but we don't know where the papers are, or we don't know where the elements that we need to, or we have 10 things to do and we are not organizing our time correctly. Inability to say no. Part of what you were talking about, Sergey, right? We are focused on one thing, but suddenly somebody is asking us for a favor, or somebody is telling us, oh, we need to do this immediately, and gets us out of focus, right? So we need to somehow learn to say no to certain things. Interruptions could be the phone. That's an old version of phone, of course. Interruptions, friends, calling us, texting us, social media is another interruption. Periods of inactivity. Do we spend some time just staring at the ceiling and doing absolutely nothing? And then we're rushing to get the things that we need to get done, right? Handling too many things at once, and we'll talk about that in a minute. When we have too much to do, it's very easy for all of us not to get focused and to think, I don't have enough time to do it all. Well, as we briefly touch on, we need to work on priorities, and we'll work on that later. And we feel many times that it's all work and no play, and that's also is an obstacle for time management. So now, what do you think are the benefits of time management? So take your time, about 2 minutes, and write down what you think are the benefits, please. All right, I think we're all done. So who wants to start? I want to hear new voices. Yes, your name was?
Anisha,
Anisha.
like with time management, you can finish all your necessary things, your priorities and like while still having like time for like friends and social media and like all the other.
Excellent. Yeah, that's very good. Who else? Come on, doesn't let me pick. Do you want to say it?
Benefits of the time management are that it's easier to get things done and
Okay, wonderful. One more. Going once. Yes, honey.
figuring out how we'll spend our time together a lot more than
Yes, very good. Excellent. So you touch on very good points. So let's go one by one. So you are going to be more productive. Several of you already talk about that, and I'm sure that you also wrote it down, right? You're going to get more done. You're going to reduce your stress. When we feel that we don't have enough time to get everything done, guess what happens? We're like very stressed, nervous. We have this anxiety about what's going on in our life, right? You improve your self-esteem. Why do you think you improve your self-esteem managing your time?
Because you're achieving the goals, it improves the self-esteem for sure.
Exactly. Very good one. You achieve balance in your life. Again, we were talking that you have to dedicate time to your work, your schoolwork, your community activities, your friends, and your family. So if you manage the time better, you're going to balance everything in your life, right? You avoid meltdowns. So when we're stressed and we have so much to do and we feel that we're not getting there, guess what sometimes could happen? We're having a meltdown, right? And we feel, it's too much, I cannot do it, I cannot do this. Well, by having good time management skills, we could avoid that. You feel more confident. That goes along with self-esteem because you're getting all the things done, or at least you're getting better, right? And you reach your goals. So, I heard one day about this particular person called the time management fairy. So let's see what that's about.
This is Jimmy. Jimmy is terrible at time management. Mike. Hey, Jimmy, that desk sure doesn't look like you could do homework on it. Oh my God, who are you?
I'm the time management fairy, and I'm here to help you. First things first, this desk is a mess.
Wow, thanks, time management fairy.
We talk about disorganization being one of the obstacles, right? So the more organized you are, the cleaner your workspace or your study space, the better.
Keeping a fixed commitment schedule allows you to keep track of everything you need to do for the day and allows you to give yourself time to relax. Hey, Jimmy, don't you have homework to do?
Hey, Jimmy, did you write your homework today?
No, I'm gonna do it after this show.
Oh, I don't think so. You need to have a fixed commitment plan.
A fixed commitment plan? What's that?
A fixed commitment plan helps you organize all your tasks for one day.
Gee whiz! Thanks, time management fairy.
So you have to be organized so that you can dedicate time to everything that you have to do.
Setting goals allows you to keep motivated for periods of time in order to achieve a personal reward. Looks like Jimmy is having some trouble staying focused. Stuff I have to do.
What's wrong, Jimmy?
Holy smokes, time management fairy. I can't stay focused one bit.
You need to create a goals list.
Beam me up. What a great idea. Thanks a million, time management fairy.
So this is a very important point to keep it going. We're going to work on that next.
Jimmy doesn't realize it, but listening to loud music while trying to study or do homework is a bad idea. Loud music keeps you from focusing, and you won't be able to retain as much information as you would without the noise.
This can help you study now.
Sounds swell to me. Allowing time to exercise at least 3 times a week is important. Exercise keeps your brain running full speed and helps you sleep at night.
Jimmy, you need to go outside and exercise.
What the f***, time management fairy? I did all my homework today.
You need to go outside and exercise. It's good for your heart and brain too. Exercising is fun.
Right? You need to move your body. All right. So, in a funny way, but at least we got the message across, right? That we need to take steps to manage our time. So let's talk about the steps. One of the ones that they were talking about in the video was setting goals. And we're going to work on that in a minute. The next one, and they talk about that also, was setting priorities and creating a schedule. That's what's going to help us stay on track. And finally, whatever you do, you always have the option to revisit and change your plan and go back to basics, right? So let's talk a little bit about goals. And when we talk about goals, it's important because it keeps us focused on what's important in our life. And there's an acronym that it's called SMART, right? And why it's called SMART? Because the goals should be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. So let's look at what each of those means. But again, in the future, and you have some worksheets, and we're going to be working on that, you remember SMART, okay? So what does that mean, or stands for? Sorry. Specific. A specific goal has a greater chance to be accomplished than a general goal. For instance, in this example, we have specific is the blue part, right? So the sentence says, or the goal says, practice a speech in front of my family and friends every Wednesday night for 30 minutes. If the goal was, I'm going to practice a speech, and we'll leave it at that, it is a goal, but it's very general. When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? In front of whom you're going to do it, right? So the specific part of this goal is in front of the family and friends every Wednesday night for 30 minutes. That way you can achieve it, right? Because it's very specific. Make sense? Okay. The second one, measurable. Measurable is that you have to be able to measure the progress towards your goal, right? In this particular case, the measurable is the portion that says every Wednesday night for 30 minutes. If you don't add that to the goal, how do you know you're doing it, right? If you don't know that every Wednesday night for 30 minutes. So then you could have a little spreadsheet or something, and every Wednesday night in your calendar, you will check it off and say, I did a speech for 30 minutes. If it was less than 30 minutes, well, you know, you measure that your goal was not achieved completely. At least you started it, but you didn't complete it fully for the 30 minutes. Make sense? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. Actionable. When you have a goal, write it down and put a plan in place. That's, again, something that we're going to do in a minute, and it's going to help you get there. Sometimes we have these grandiose goals, which are fantastic, but then we don't know how to go about it and get them done, right? So a plan will help us to get there. Baby steps, right? And in this particular one, the actionable part is practice a speech. That is my plan. I'm going to practice a speech. They have to be realistic, right? They have to be goals that I'm willing to actually do it and actually reach it. If it's unrealistic, then I will not even want to get it done. And the realistic part in this one also keeps me accountable because it's in front of family and friends. So I have to be willing to be in front of family and friends and do this speech. Yeah? Make sense? Okay. And finally, they are time-based. Why are they time-based? This is very important because it gives you, again, accountability in a sense of urgency. You need to get it done at a certain time, right? And the time-based part, again, is every Wednesday night for 30 minutes. Did we understand the SMART and what that stands for? Yeah? Yep? Okay. So, we're going to do a little exercise. We're going to work on your goals. So, let's review how we're going to do this. So, first of all, we're going to define the goal. Then, we're going to identify small steps to achieve that goal, what we were just talking about. We're going to put together an action plan. What are the things, the concrete things that I have to put in motion to get to the final plan? And then I'm going to give each of those action items an ownership and a due date, right? And we're going to do that in your worksheet. So you have 3 worksheets that are the same, but they are the SMART goal savings. So I'm going to give you about 15 minutes, and please complete the 3 worksheets. You're going to see that the area that has the 4 columns, the column on the right says priority. Do not fill that out. Just leave it blank. We're going to work on all the other columns, but not the priority for now. Okay? All right, let's just start. The goals could be related to school. They could be related to what you want to do in life. They could be goals related to your family, with maybe a job that you want to get eventually in the future. Yes, honey?
What do you mean by the term owner?
Owner is who's going to do that part of the plan. Is it going to be you, most likely, or is it going to be, let's say, your brother, because it's related to your family? Mm-hmm. Thank you. So let me give you an example. My goal could be to be a famous singer. And then the small steps or the small goals could be take singing lessons, find a singing agent or an agent, and get a CD out or a new album. And then the action steps would be find a singing lesson teacher, talk to my parents about taking the lessons, try to see if I can do a recital in school. You see, so we're going from the big picture, the big goal, to the medium goals that need to happen, to the specific action items that I need to take to get to those goals. Make sense? Yeah? Okay, let's keep working on it. Okay. How do you feel? How was that exercise?
Good.
Yeah? Takes some deep thought, right? About what we want in life and what are the things that we love or we like the most, right? Okay. So, who wants to share? You don't have to share them all. Maybe one that you would like to share. Nobody? Come on, I'm sure you have very cool goals in life. Let's just start with you. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would love that. What's your name?
Haley. Haley.
Haley. Okay.
When I grow up, I want to start a world wide.
Can you raise your voice a little bit so we can hear you?
When I grow up, I want to open up
for a worldwide store on TV cameras.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's your main goal.
And
Why is it important to you?
I don't know.
Okay,
I just think that it would be cool.
it would be cool. Okay. And what are the steps? So what is needed to accomplish that goal?
I thought that maybe we could like start off with like a small business and then make it go on.
Mm-hmm. And do you have steps to open that business or not yet? Okay, all right. So as we spoke, it would be a good idea later on, as you get more clear in that goal, maybe to start writing down some action items that will get you there eventually. Yeah? Great, thank you for sharing. Who else wants to share? I share my being a famous singer. You know it's not gonna happen, but it's a dream of mine. So, come on. Who else? Yes, what's your name?
Ashley,
Ashley.
it's not like a long term goal. It's just like,
It doesn't have to be, it's your goal.
okay, so I want to finish my book report before, like 1 week before it's due, so I don't procrastinate.
Excellent.
And so I need my book, and then I need my iPad so I can write down my book report. And then for my task, or my action plan, I said to, now first I have to read my book, and then I have to brainstorm ideas, and then I have to start writing, and I have to revise.
That's fantastic. How do you feel about that plan? Do you feel that it's achievable?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent, great. What else? Yes, please, your name was?
Aditi.
Aditi.
So I want to try to be a bit more consistent and with my homework and projects and assignments.
Okay, great.
So this goal is important because these grades go to college, which decides how your life will turn out. And it's so for what is needed to accomplish this goal, I need to be concentrated and I need to have my materials ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty achievable.
Excellent. Great. Do you have action items to follow or not yet?
Not yet. I wasn't completed with this one. I was only completed with the first one.
Okay. All right. Well, eventually, later on, you can complete it. You're going to take these home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Who else? Both of you can share. Why don't we start with you and then we follow with you?
Okay, so one of my goals for this year is to become an ASB officer at my school. So this goal is like important to me because I really like my school and I like showing off my spirit, and I'm currently in the leadership class, so I think I can get there. So some of my tasks would be I need to work hard in the leadership class that I'm in right now. I want to get tips from one of the current officers. Still working on it, but yeah.
Excellent. How do you feel about it?
Well, I really want to do it, and I think it can be pretty achievable if I work hard at it.
Excellent. All right. It would be, I believe, very interesting for you to put some timeline so that you know when you want to achieve each of the steps for everybody, actually, right? So let's follow with you.
I want to finish my reflections painting, but 2 days before it's due. So this is an important goal for me because it's one of my school projects. It's not necessary, but I want to do it to show my school spirit. And what I need for this goal is basically my painting equipment and my time. So my action plan for this would be to finish drawing and shading by tomorrow and finish the painting by Tuesday.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you even were able to put the timelines, right? The due date by Tuesday, tomorrow, etc. Wonderful. Anybody else that wants to share? No? Okay. All right. Well, that was really good. And I know that it took a lot of concentration, so I really appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about setting priorities, right? let's see. We may have in one day 10 or 20 tasks to complete, and it would be really, really hard to complete them all, as we all know, right? So we're going to set priorities, and Sergey talked about that earlier. Priority means, obviously, which task is more important to get to our goal and when it has to be completed. Some of what we did in the exercise. And of course, the priority is going to be based on what is the number one priority is going to be what's more worth for you and what's more urgent. So let's look at
your
this
time.
story.
And I'd like to illustrate this by sharing a well-known story. Once upon a time, a professor was teaching a class about time management, and the professor set a 1-gallon glass jar on the table and filled it up with pretty good-sized rocks. He then said to the students, "Is the jar full?" They replied, "Yes, it's full." And then he pulled out a bag of pebbles and he poured them into the jar. As he did, he shook the jar so that the pebbles sifted down through the holes between the rocks. Eventually, the pebbles reached the top of the jar, and once again, he looked at the class and said, "Is the jar full?" The students cautiously answered, "Yes." And then he pulled out a bag of sand, and he did the same thing, pouring and shaking until the sand reached the top of the jar. This time, when he looked at the students and said, "Is the jar full?" they said, "No." He smiled. He pulled out a pitcher of water. He poured it into the jar until the water reached the top of the jar. And then he looked at the students and he said, "What was the point of this illustration?" And one young man jumped up and said, "I know. No matter how full your schedule is, if you try hard enough, you can always fit some more things into it." The professor shook his head and replied, "That's not the point I was trying to illustrate. The point I was trying to illustrate is that if you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never get them all in. If you fill your jar first with pebbles or sand or water, then there won't be any room for the rocks. If you allow the small things to take up all of your time, then you won't be able to accomplish the bigger things. Figure out what your highest priorities are and do your best to work first on those things that move you towards your goals. Once your goal-related activities are scheduled, then you can fill the rest of your schedule with all those other activities that are less important, but still need to be done." Of course, you know this already, but the illustration of the rocks in the jar is a good reminder to schedule your highest priorities first.
So that's exactly what we were talking about. And earlier today, we were giving some examples of obstacles to time management. Alana brought up friends, right? And we don't think about friends about being an obstacle, but if we want to finish our painting project for school, and instead of doing the steps that we need to get that done, we spend time with friends, then where are our priorities, right? Then we're going to be rushing to try to get the painting done, or we're going to be late to the assignment. So what this is all about is to take time and effort mentally to determine what's more important and what can be put off for later. So there's a very interesting tool that is called the Eisenhower matrix. And I don't know if any of you have seen this before. Have you? No? Okay. So you can see that there's 4 quadrants. The first one is important and urgent. The second one is important but not urgent. The third one is urgent but not important. And the fourth one is not urgent and not important. So what Eisenhower is saying or illustrating here, obviously, this is obvious, spend your time in the things that are important, not the ones that are urgent, right? Why? Because the important things are the ones that are going to help you achieve your goals. The things that are urgent, even though they're urgent, usually, not all the time, but usually they are related to things that help others to achieve their goals or to do things that are not so directly related to your goals. If you have put your time writing down your goals and knowing what are the steps needed, then you're not going to have urgency. You're going to be organized and know what to do. Make sense? Yes? Okay. So, when you set up your priorities, you need to remember these. In the quadrant number 1 are the things that should be completed today. If they're not completed, there's going to be repercussions, like I'm going to miss my deadline for my project for school, or something different, right? Quadrant number 2, important but not urgent. This should be done soon, because they are important and they will help me achieve my goals. But if they're not done today, nothing really, really terrible is going to happen. Number 3, these are the ones that are preventing you to achieve your goals. Because as we said, usually the emergencies, the urgent things are coming from the outside. So that is also related to what we talked about earlier, which is learn to say no, right? Sometimes we need to learn to say no. And then the 4th one, these are your time eaters. You know, social media, listening to music when you have other things to do, escape activities, etc. So these should not be at your top priority whatsoever. So now we're going to go back to your goal setting sheet, and you're going to try to put priorities to the action steps that you wrote down there. We'll take a couple of minutes. And again, consider what's important and urgent, what needs to be done today to achieve our goal, what's important but not so urgent, that's going to be number 2. And those are things that are going to help us achieve our goals, but if they're not done immediately, they still will help us, right? Number 3 are the ones that can be put off for later because it's something urgent, but it's not related to our goal. All right. So what we did here, again, thinking about a big goal, then small steps to achieve, then very specific action items, and finally putting due dates and priorities. This is something that you can do anytime with any goal, as big or as small as you want it, right? And the good thing about it is that you can come back to it and revisit. If you thought that you only needed 3 action items or 3 steps to achieve your goal, but then you realize, oh, I forget 1 or 2, you just add it. This is yours, this is your plan, and you are the one, you are in charge, let's say. And this is going to help you manage your time better, right? But also, of course, we need to know how to manage the time. So we're going to create a schedule. Why is a schedule important? Because you can use an app or a spreadsheet or any other software that will help you stay on schedule. And scheduling will help you to organize the activities that you have every day, and it's going to help you determine what's your free time. So if I want to hang out with my friends, and I do, right? I'm going to know how much time I have free, and then I'm going to use that time to play music, go to the movies, go to my friends, etc. But first, I need to know what I have to do the entire day or the entire week. You're going to look at the hours that you're spending on extracurricular activities and maybe say, you know what, I'm doing too much. I need to cut that down. Or I'm not doing enough of the things that I really love. I want to do more, and I have some free time. You're going to see how much you used to study, and you're going to see how and where you tend to waste time. So, speaking about organizing and not wasting time.
Hey, Leonard, if you're not busy tomorrow, I have to do a little reception after work.
Oh, I would, but we need to make a push on the Air Force project.
Are you sure? We're celebrating our new ADD drug. I mean, it'll probably be over in like 6 minutes.
Did you say you guys are working on the guidance system tomorrow?
Yeah, what?
Well, Sheldon said that he was going to work with me on our quantum perception project.
We've had this plan for a week.
Well, he reconfirmed with me this morning.
Guys, before this gets ugly, remember, the winner gets Sheldon.
So you see why
Do you want to go with me
into
tomorrow?
schedule?
Are you asking
right?
because you want me there or out of pity? Actually, never mind, don't answer. I'd love to.
Hello. Why did you tell Leonard you're working on the gyroscope tomorrow?
Because I am.
But you said you were working with me.
Uh-oh, someone's got 2 dates to the nerd prom.
I have a plan to work on both projects simultaneously. And for your information, the summer conference on algebraic topology at Caltech is Nerd Prom.
Sorry, what is this plan you have?
I'm not needed at both places at the same time. And I can also free up extra hours with simple tricks, such as using a minimal amount of words to convey my point.
When does that start?
Soon. See, I could have said in the near future, but I didn't say in the near future, because in the near future is 3 more words than soon. N1, V2, near 3, future 4. See, in the near future is 4, soon is just 1, 4 is more than 1. Saving time already.
Genius. I was gonna say, why does anyone think Sheldon's a genius? But I didn't.
So again, it's all about scheduling and saving time, right? So some of the tools, and by the way, copies of these worksheets that you use and everything that I'm showing you here are going to be available to you through the website, through the library website. So you can use them. And these are Excel spreadsheets. These are very, very useful to work on your schedule. So when you're working on a weekly or daily planner or schedule, you're going to use this sequence. I find it very, very useful. First of all, I'm going to put all the items that have to do with personal maintenance. You know, my time for eating, sleeping, taking a shower, travel to work or to school, getting ready, etc. So that instead of getting to school every day 20 minutes late, I'm going to make sure that I leave enough time in the morning to get everything done for my own maintenance, and then I can get to school on time. If I'm driving, I don't know if that's your case, probably not. Then the next one is the classes at school. Then the third one is the work commitments, if I have class and I have work. Then other commitments, again, extracurricular, volunteer work, anything like that. And at the end, I'm going to fill out the optional commitments, the things that I could or could not do. Make sense? Yes? Okay. Another very interesting tool is a to-do list. I use these every day. So in a to-do list, what you're going to do, you're going to organize your time. So you're going to put the task, similar to what we did, the task, the priority, the status. Did I start it already? Am I in the middle of it? Is it pending because I need to go to the bookstore and get something else, etc. The start date and the due date, and then I'm going to put the percentage complete and any notes that I want to add, right? When you put together your to-do list, it's very important also to break down big tasks into smaller steps that are easy to achieve in smaller chunks of time. Why? Because it's also very important to check things off from your to-do list. It will give you a sense of accomplishment. In that tone, you have one more piece of paper that it's a weekly accomplishment worksheet. So I would like you to think about this past week and fill it out. And what you need to put is the week of October 24th to the 28th. And you're going to put all the projects and assignments or things that you finished this week, how long you've been working on it, and why it was important for your goals. And then there's a few more things. You're gonna add the skills that you learned, or challenges that you overcame, or things that you solved this week. Then you're gonna add good feedback that I got this week. It could be any feedback, a teacher that told you that was a great job, or a friend that told you your hair looks great. Another friend that tells you you play really good soccer. Those are good feedback. And what is one thing that you're very proud you did this week? So we're gonna take about 10 minutes. All right, so who wants to read theirs? Alana? Do you want to read yours? No, thank you. Do you have anything that you're happy that you accomplished this week? I'm sorry? No. Okay. Well, the good thing is you can take this home and eventually use it in the next few weeks. And hopefully you're going to get that sense of accomplishment. Who else? Who wants to talk and tell me? Sure, go ahead.
So I finished the science unit, which took 1 week, and it is important because it helped me bump my grade up for science, because in a group project it went down. And skills I learned, or challenges I overcame. So I solved the science problem. Me and my teammates had to come up with a song that had to do a song or a way to explain facts that had to do with cells. And one friend wanted to do a talk show, another wanted to do a musical. And I said we could have a talk show where we burst into a musical, so it all worked out.
Excellent.
And so I was proud that I solved problems and I completed the unit, with good grades.
Excellent, that's wonderful. Great. All right. Well, so this exercise that we did is for you to do it every week if you want, and to give you again a sense of accomplishment, because we're working really hard, we're setting all these goals, setting priorities, but if we don't feel that we have accomplished something, that we have good feedback from others, it can get very daunting, right? So it's a way of giving us a pat on the back. Make sense? So again, you're gonna get these worksheets to take home, and then you can do it on your own. A little more about scheduling. Then another way of the scheduling long term is to use a monthly calendar. What is the advantage of using a monthly calendar is that it's going to give us a view of 4 weeks ahead. So if there are things that have deadlines, if I know that a test is coming up or something really important is coming up, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to enter it in that monthly schedule very, very quickly so that I know ahead of time that a deadline is approaching. Make sense? So we talk about daily planners, we talk about to-do lists, we talk about weekly schedules, and we're talking about monthly schedules. Yeah? And you're going to get, again, all these tools. So, we're talking so much about schedule, but what if I get off the schedule, right? Let's all be prepared for that, because life is unpredictable and things can happen. So, what happens when everything gets thrown to chaos? Then we go back to basics. So what are the basics? We're going to list each activity that we need to do. Then we're going to define a due date, a time limit. This needs to be done before Thursday, 3 p.m., an example. Then after that, we're going to put all the priorities for each of the activities. And then we're going to tackle each of those activities in that order. So we're trying here to manage the time in a way that it's going to help us reduce the stress, not to get meltdowns, not to get all anxious. So when things get out of whack, Just breathe, relax, go back to basics, and start all over again. Make sense? Yes? Okay. So now, staying focused. That's another challenge, right? Because we have so many things that are coming to us. So how do we stay focused? First of all, switching from task to task when we have 10 or 20 things to do, that's not being focused. That is switching, moving, not having the focus that we need to finish any of those. So, by staying focused, there are many apps or applications for the computer that are free that you can download, and they're going to help you with this journey. We're going to go one by one very quickly. Again, they're here for you to download. So the first one is Freedom, and this is just a screenshot. Freedom, I'm sure that at some point you were trying to write a paper. It was in one of the videos that I showed you, or maybe you're doing something for work and your phone keeps ringing, or your Facebook keeps telling you, XYZ wants to talk to you, whatever. So this application blocks the distractions, and you are the one that is choosing what to block and when and for how long, because you want to be productive. So you can see here, not so well, but you can see here that you can choose the different applications that can be blocked and for how long. Again, it's a tool for you. You are in charge. If you want to write that paper and you know in 10 minutes you're going to get it done, guess what? Just block everything off for 10 minutes, get it done, and then chat with your friends, use the Snapchat, whatever it is that you need to do. Make sense? The second one, Google Docs. Many of you know it, right? It allows you to create and edit documents on the go, wherever you are, from your laptop, from your tablet, from your phone, and also they help you because they have a lot of templates and tools for you to pick from. So instead of, wasting your time trying to determine how these papers should look, you go to Google Docs and they have a lot of templates for your help. And then you can access them wherever you are. Yeah? To be more productive. This one I really like. It's called Focus Writer. Focus Writer is a distraction-free word processor. So basically, like any other word processor will give you all the tools like spell check and etc. But if you're writing a paper for school that has to be 1,000 words, there's going to be a side window that will be counting all the words that you are writing. So it will give you a good feedback as to how much you need to write, and also it will give you a daily progress. So for instance, here it says the longest streak you had was 18 days, and it will show you from what day to what day you were focused writing what you needed to write. Make sense? Yeah? And it loads back automatically when you had to go to another application and then come back. Timeout. It's scientifically proven that we all need a break to be more productive and to improve our focus. So Timeout, it's a very cool app that allows us and reminds us to take a break from time to time. So when the break starts, your computer or your phone dims out, and you are going to choose a theme. So if you want, images of the beach or, of the mountain or clouds or whatever it is that calms you down and allows you to kind of tune out, you're going to choose that. That theme is going to appear, and then when the break is complete, it will fade away. And you also have the control to set up how much time that break is going to be. And on top of that, it will also show you that how busy you've been with the different applications that you use in your computer. So how much of your time you spend on Facebook, how much you spend on taking breaks, how much you spend doing other things. Really cool app. Lumosity. You may have heard of it, maybe. Lumosity, even though Lumosity is not going to help you when you study, it is going to help you to focus more when you are studying, increasing your memory, right? And Lumosity has games that work with your 5 cognitive abilities, and they'll adapt to your skill level. So it's fun, right? Not everything has to not be fun. It's totally fun. It has a lot of games, and they feed your brain power. So when you go to study or to work, it's already there. You know, you have been training the muscle, per se. Another one, GPS for the soul. This app, what it does, it seeks to reduce the stress, right? So in your phones, you have the camera. So it will monitor or read your heart rate and the heart rate variability, through the fingerprint scan in the camera. And it will give you, again, songs and themes to calm you down and reduce your stress, right? Images and so on. And finally, this is kind of like a fun game as well. It's called Forest. And Forest is a wonderful app to make you focus in what's important in life, right? So the app has to be open and on the screen on your phone. So you put your phone away, and for as long as that app is the central app, your tree is going to start growing. And then another tree, and another tree. And you're going to start having a forest. But if you switch to Facebook or Snapchat or whatever other app that you're using, the tree dies. So the whole purpose of this game is, again, you know, if you are, I don't know, having a moment with your friends, or you're with your family, having dinner or something like that, those are things that are really important. So let's keep the phone away for a little bit, but at the same time, let's play a little game, and let's see how big our forest can get. Yeah? Make sense? Okay, so you've been wonderful. Let's summarize what this is all about, right?
No matter how much technology we invent to help us get more efficient, we'll never have enough time to do what we want until we learn to use the technology of our brain effectively. Or we invent a time machine. Until then, I've been working with many different people, helping them to master their time, be more productive, and get things done effectively. I've found that there are only a few core actions that need to be completed for you to take full charge of your life. There are some great books out there on time management by Dave Allen, Stephen Covey, and my very own book, Not Enough Hours. There are only 4 key things that you need to do if you want to take control of your life and manage every second better. First, master yes and no. This is the art of prioritizing. If you have a problem prioritizing or saying no, you need to remember one sentence. Yes is no, and no is yes. Whenever you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else. And whenever you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. So in reality, you're always saying both yes and no, which means you simply need to decide which is more important to say yes to. Not what seems urgent at the moment, but what's more important. The more you focus on what's important and say yes to these things, the more likely you are to start having a far more productive life. Second, be honest with yourself. Most people's biggest problem is that they lie to themselves about what's possible to do. You are not Santa Claus, and it doesn't take you 5 minutes to get to work. Maybe it took less than 10 minutes that one time you were rushing through the streets at 11 p.m. at night when you realized you left your phone at work. But that's not normal. Always give yourself 20% extra buffer time so you always have time to prepare for the next task. Third, plan smart. Planning smart means scheduling your daily life in a way that works best for you. You know when you work best. You know if it's morning or night that you should tackle the big project. You know how bad it feels when you got a hangover the next day and you know you're not necessarily as productive as you want to be. Putting a plan in place that you stick to with discipline is an essential key towards taking charge of every single second. And set up regular rewards for yourself for getting things successfully done. That will also help keep you motivated and moving forward. And lastly, master your focus. You do this by working in batches and learning to switch off. You see, your brain works on a rhythm where your attention peaks and troughs. You need to work with this rhythm, which means focusing on one task and getting it done, and then being able to switch off when you need to. Batch work means that you answer all of your emails at once, rather than allowing that ping of new email to distract you. It means returning all calls at the same time. It means switching off your phone. You don't need to have your phone on all the time. This will allow your focus to be 100%. From a work-life balance point of view, it also means at night when it's time to go home, writing out a to-do list for the next day of what you have to do so that your mind can rest, and then creating a ritual every evening that lets you know now it's time to relax. Work is over, fun starts now. So, until the invention of a time machine that rides the space-time continuum, try these 4 simple steps. Master yes and no, be honest with yourself, plan smart, and master your focus.
Pretty simple, right? Now that we know how to do it. So, in summary, time management can help you be more productive and reduce your stress level. The basic steps for time management: set goals, set priorities, make a schedule, and revise and revisit. It's your plan, so you are the master of it. Be tough with your time, learn to say no, try to avoid procrastination and time eaters, time wasters. Use all these strategies and these tools to maximize your time, and relax and enjoy the extra time that you're going to find like magically in your day, right? That you have discovered. So a few last words.
Commodity that is most valuable on this earth is time. Time to love, time to live. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. I don't think you quite caught that. Let me say it again. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. Some happen faster, some happen slower. Some of us help them have to go faster, and some of them prevent it from happening sooner than later. How many seconds, how many minutes do we waste every day doing things that are nowhere near the goals and aspirations and passions that we have inside? How many times do you go through the course of a day and realize, did I do anything I set out to do today? Write down those goals each and every day. No matter if it's 2 goals a day, if you can accomplish those, then you're doing more than just making it through the day. You are living and achieving your dreams. Find time to better yourself. Read, explore, research. Live life. Do things you've never thought of doing before. That's what it's all about. When you're born, that's that date that they put on the left side of the tombstone. When you die, they put another date on the right side of the tombstone. But that dash in the middle is the most important thing on that tombstone. That is a line that throughout that entire time frame, you were able to impact and touch others' lives. You were able to leave your mark on this earth. You were able to build a legacy that nobody could change. You were able to have it to where people remember who you are no matter what. When you're living for that dash in the middle, you're going to remember your why. Your why you're here. Not the why did you do something. Your why, your reason for getting up in the morning, your reason for pushing yourself past the brink of exertion and giving up. Your reason for moving on and getting things done in life. That dash in the middle, that's the thing that pushes you.
So, it's been a pleasure. I hope that we have good tools today to go into life and try to manage our time better.